The average Canadian, I'll say American family, produces a ton of organic waste in a year, and a pound of worms and their descendants could transform a ton of waste. And I was like, oh, every family needs a pound of worms, and I'm just the one to put a pound of worms in every house. So I turned to my husband. I said, I'm quitting my job. I'm taking this course. I'm going to start a worm business. Won't this be fun?
Cathy, are you familiar with Chucklevision in the UK?
I'm not. No, tell me.
So Chucklevision was two brothers. I think they were called Chris and Barry, if I'm right. And they were famous for their absolute silliness. So I love that you come from a place of chuckling and laughter. And I'd love to know more about how you became who you are and where the laughter came from.
I would like to know that too.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
And that wraps up today's episode. Thank you very much. Amazing. I knew I was going to be laughing in the first 5 minutes of talking to you, Cathy. I love this.
Well, it's I'm located in Canada, and
Cool.
It is the 24th anniversary of my worm composting business, Cathy's Crawley Composters.
Wow.
Selling worms by the pound for indoor composting.
Wow.
What? Who chooses that? You don't choose. You get chosen.
I mean, it's one of my favourite phrases from the film Dumb and Dumber, where they wanted to set up worm farms. I've got worms. No, that's what we're going to call it. I got worms. Right, let's go really far back then. How did you start composting worms? How does this work?
Okay, so I'm located just north of Toronto, largest city in Canada. And in 2002, our landfill closed and we started to export our garbage to the US.
Right.
Almost 1,000 trucks a week were making the trip from the Toronto area to Michigan. Wow. So I was like, shame on us, first of all, as Canadians for shipping our garbage out of the country, and double shame on the Americans, so they get double.
Yeah.
And it's not the people. I'm not shaming the people. I'm shaming the governments, right? The people who decided it was a good idea. And I had a solution, indoor composting with worms. Back to Toronto, 6 million people in the greater Toronto area, half live in condos, townhouses, places without space to do outdoor composting. So this is composting in the house.
Wow. And do you know what I love about this? I have a friend of mine, we always talk about the differences between the UK and America, and it's the same with Canada. I would say composting, you say composting. Now I think about it, as soon as you said it, I thought, well, we call it a post. We don't call it a post. So why do I call it compost? It's very confusing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, strange. Wow. So like, how did you even start that then? Was that something you knew about? Or?
Well, okay, so we'll go further back.
Wow.
I am from Toronto. I bought my house out of Toronto because I couldn't afford in 93 to buy in the city. I mean, it's a common story today. People are like, I can't afford to live in the city.
Yeah.
So it's not new. In the year I bought my house, a teacher friend asked me to look after her worm bin. She had worms in her classroom and she was going away for the summer.
Oh, wow.
And I'm an avid gardener and composter. And so I knew the value of the compost, but I didn't want worms in my house.
Yeah.
And I also come from a place that we should try things for ourselves rather than letting, someone just saying, oh, you won't like that. Oh, good. Give me a list.
Yeah.
And so I took on the challenge and, I just wanted the black gold. I would open up the lid, throw the food, and I'll talk about how it works in a sec. And so I was a fruit fly farmer, Andy. No good. Nobody's buying fruit flies. They die in a day or two and they're hard to catch. There's no market. So don't be a fruit fly farmer if you take on worm composting.
I was just going to say, so it's not that's not a good option then?
Well, don't do you need to, the fruit flies are not a necessary part. But they don't cause any disease for humans or pets. They just bug us because we called them bugs.
Yeah.
So they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
They're decomposers, right? So they're chewing the food for the worms, and the worms are like, yay, thanks. If they could talk and see and whatever, they'd be like, thanks, fruit flies, now fly away.
Amazing.
And so at the end of that summer, I put on big gloves. I wanted the black gold that the worms, I wanted the worm poo. That's what I wanted for my garden.
Yeah.
And I think that's where most people are. They want the end product, but they don't want to do the whole process.
That's definitely a familiar story in a lot of people in business, right?
Yes, right. And so, at the end of that, I got the worm poo. I gave the live worms back to my friend. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And I was getting my psych degree, 15 years to get my degree. Stay in school, kids, you'll get there.
Yeah.
Time goes by. Actually, I didn't care about the degree. I didn't care about the paper. I just like going to school at night. I love learning. So I got my degree in 2000, got a job at a group home working with challenged adults. And I was like, oh, this is why I was put on earth. I loved working with that demographic. It was really wonderful. And they had 10 homes and a farm, and they didn't compost. They would pay like a whack of dough to get rid of all their rotting food. And I was like, wow. They don't like, it was the first time that I realized people don't connect what they do. Here they are creating all of this food waste and then paying all the money. And they had a farm, like, and paying all this money. So I spoke to management and I said, why don't you compost? And they said, we don't need the fertilizer because we have cows. So they have manure. And I'm like, okay, well, you're still paying a whack of dough to get rid of your stuff. And it's non-toxic. Like if the worms are converting it or by composting, that's what I was advocating for composting.
Yeah.
If you're composting your scraps, it's turning something you have into something else. Yeah. Usable anyway. And the greenhouse manager said, what about vermicomposting, worm composting? And I was like, no, not again. Andy, have you ever done something that you're like, you're all fired up about something and then it doesn't work out?
Yep.
And you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that again. That was a mistake. That's what happened. And I was like, ugh, I got that feeling in the pit of my stomach. But I came home. It's an institution, right? They're not going to get worms anytime soon. They got to have meetings, see if it's a good idea, see if they have money, all the things. I came home and I started to do research. So I had my first introduction to worm composting in 93. It's now 2000. I start doing research. Wow. And I discover the magic of these beautiful worms. They eat half their weight per day in food scraps. They turn garbage into black gold. They're the original alchemists. They have 5 hearts each. Wow. Right, I know. And I heard that the average Canadian, I'll say American family, produces a ton of organic waste in a year. And a pound of worms and their descendants could transform a ton of waste. And I was like, every family needs a pound of worms. And I'm just the one to put a pound of worms in every house.
That's a pound of worms. Do they consume it then?
Yeah, they're consuming it. Now, not in a container, not in someone's kitchen, that you would need space for them to grow, to reproduce and expand and all of that. Yeah. But just those stats, I was like, man, that's a sign, if anything.
Wow.
And then I got injured at work. And I came home from work and there was an ad in the paper and it said, are you a woman? Do you have a business idea? I was like, yes. So I turned to my husband. I said, I'm quitting my job. I'm taking this course. I'm going to start a worm business. Won't this be fun?
What was his first reaction?
He knows me. We've been together for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, you pick your battles, really. It's like, okay, like, you can't go against a storm. Like, you know, pick your battles.
I love that. We've talked about this quite a lot on this podcast of having... when you're in your business journey, of having someone who believes in you, or kind of almost is like, and I love that you're like, yep, cool, mate, let's do a worm farm. It's like having, there are a lot of people in business that I know that have probably never done what they wanted to do because almost no one kind of said, yeah, let's do it. Like, I love that. That's so cool. So,
and you're going to have detractors, right? And family is usually the biggest one. And I think not out of spite or anything. I think that family really wants to keep you safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, like, why would you start something ridiculous like selling worms? I didn't have repeat customers because they breed more than rabbits. And like, it was ridiculous business model. Yeah. But I took on school workshops and that's where I got my speaking chops is I would go into schools and, it's still my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Imagine going into a school where it's, Toronto, urban jungle. Some of these children have never even seen like real grass. They've got only AstroTurf.
Yeah.
So they've never seen a worm. Imagine asking them to hold a worm. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Because we can't care about something that we are not familiar with. If we're not connected to something, why would we care? Like, if we've never been to the forest, why would we care if they cut it down for houses?
So probably about 2002, I had a brief encounter where I worked on the beach as a beach lifeguard, And before the season was about to start, I went and worked for a surf school. And there was, we had some foreign exchange students came over from Germany. And I had one of the kids and the teachers come up to me and say, look, we came here this morning and the water was all the way down there. And when we've come up now, the water's all the way up here. And they went, is there a problem? Because they'd never experienced a tidal surf, like, you know, and it blew my mind. But like you just said, like, if you've never experienced this scenario, you've never experienced it, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it's over 100,000 students have seen my presentation.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful impact. Yeah, and so I came to the laughter in 2012. One more person said, ooh, worms in the house. I'd heard it hundreds of times, but I was like, no, you need this. This is really important. But Andy, people don't buy what they need. They buy what they want. And they didn't want what I was flogging.
And do you know what's really funny? Like, sorry to step back a little bit. Like, you just said 100,000 people saw your presentation. Like, how much food have you composted over the years? Do you know what I mean? From your influence of, like, how much have you saved? Like, that's something to really be proud of, right?
Thank you. Yes, it's not many people make that connect. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that, because even with my worm farm, they eat half their weight. I mean, I wasn't producing enough scraps, so I was scrounging around town looking for rotting food.
Wow.
I would go to coffee shops. This is not a word of a lie. So we have a chain in Canada named after a famous hockey player. I don't even air their name because they weren't nice to me. So we had 4 of them in our town. 4 in my little town. We don't know how to make coffee, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll go there. And so I went, you know, so naive. I go and I'm like, oh, I'm the worm farmer in town. And I chose media as my marketing strategy. So people knew who I was in the little town, because our little paper would write articles about me. I said, I'm the worm farmer in town and my worm farm's growing. I need more food. Could I collect your coffee grounds? Like, I don't want the fresh stuff. I want the used grounds. So they're like, ooh, it's a franchise, right? They're not the boss. They think they are, but they're not.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, we got to talk to head office. Okay, I'll come back. I ended up going back 4 times because I didn't get them. I didn't know they were saying no by saying we got to talk to head office. I'm like, you know, again, now I know how things work. I was like, when I went there the 4th time, they were like, oh, here she comes again, probably. Oh, what are we going to tell her?
It's the worm lady. She's back.
She's back. So they said, oh, we talked to head office and there's a written policy that our coffee grounds have to go in the garbage. And now I'm like, oh, come on. I don't want to see that policy. Get out of here. There's a written policy.
Wow.
Like, imagine that meeting. That's what I joke with the kids. I'm like, imagine that meeting. Okay, everyone, what are we going to do with the tons of coffee grounds that we're creating?
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do? Come on, I want to go home. Hey, why don't we throw them away? Good idea. Somebody write it down.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, let's make that a policy that we throw them in the bin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I said, okay, I'll take all your garbage. Thankfully, they said no to that. Can you imagine pawing through all the garbage? Oh, my gosh. I'm glad they said no to that one, because I would have done it. So, you know, I left there with my tail between my legs. Oh, all coffee shops are going to have this policy. Now, we had 9 coffee shops, 4 named after the hockey player. I went to the newest shop in town, which was on the wrong side of the street for rush hour. So you got to make a left turn, or I guess a right turn for UK, yeah. Right? The awkward turn. And anyway, so the business was slow. So I went to the person there and I said, I'm a worm farmer in town. I need more food. And I said that I would increase business because the environmentalists are going to flock there when they know he's doing something good. They're going to ride their big bike, bring their to-go mug. I was selling him on this idea, which I didn't do at the other place. I was just like, I just want your scraps. Feed me. So he said yes.
Wow.
And I would go every day. And in 1 month, I collected 1,000 pounds of coffee grounds from the slowest shop in town.
Wow.
My backyard smelled like a coffee shop. And I'm pretty high energy, you might have noticed. Someone said to me, I would separate the coffee grounds and the filters. I don't know why, because the worms eat the filters too, but I was. So I was separating everything. Probably too much time. It was at the beginning. I didn't have enough customers. And somebody said, you know your coffee ground project? And I said, yes. And they said, do you wear gloves? And I said, no, why would what? It's coffee grounds. And they said, have you heard of the nicotine patch? And I was like, oh my gosh, caffeine careening through my veins. No wonder I can't sleep. No wonder I'm getting heart. My poor husband, I'm like speeding around. Wah!
Wow.
And then I realized, oh my gosh, like really as an entrepreneur, we don't have a safety net. Like we don't have a business, like a plan for if something happens, like we're it. I got to stay healthy. So then I started to wear gloves because I realized, ooh, this isn't probably a dumb thing to do.
Wow. You wouldn't even think of that, would you?
No, I didn't, clearly.
Yeah. That's incredible.
I was just honestly going really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you haven't slept since then, right? Amazing. I love that. You've got such a great energy, and I love it. It almost feels like you wouldn't need the caffeine, even if you had.
I don't. No, I don't need caffeine.
Yeah.
I had a Red Bull once. Somebody gave me a Red Bull once, like a promotion thing, and I drank it. And oh my gosh, I thought I was having a heart attack.
I love that we talked about Dumb and Dumber, and then you just said I had a Red Bull. I can't think of what the film is. I think it's Yes Man, where Jim Carrey goes, "I had a Red Bull. Have you had a Red Bull?" Amazing. So tell me then, how did you get from worms to what you do now? Because I mean, honestly, I know what it's like. Laughter. I feel like laughter is the best. It's the best medicine that people don't realize is just freely available. And already I'm feeling really good just from listening to you laughing today. So how did you get from worms to, your
2012, I'd heard, ew, worms in the house hundreds of times. 2012, 10 years into my mission, one more person said, ew, worms in the house. And that day I heard it, I felt it, I questioned everything. And I was about to doff my important mission. I was like, oh, maybe I need to get a job. And I was like, oh, no, this has to work. No, I would be a horrible employee now. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Right. And
did you make the same excuse that many people say as well? So I'm unemployable now.
I just say, I don't want you to tell me what to do. Like,
no, same.
Yeah. No, I would be a horrible employee, really. Unless I could work from home and do my own thing, and you just send me cash. I haven't found that deal yet. And so I was introduced to laughter yoga the very next day at the very place I wrote my business plan.
Oh, wow.
Wow. They would have speakers, and the woman did a 5-minute introduction to laughter yoga. I don't even do yoga. I know it's a fine thing, but I just jump right to the fun yoga. So it's not doing yoga and laughing. It's laughing as a cardiovascular workout.
Right.
The yoga part of the laughter yoga is the practice of the laughter. So laughing with intention and the deep diaphragmatic breathing.
Yeah. Wow. I've got so many questions. So how did that capture you to get you where you are now then? Because obviously you don't do the worms at all now.
Well, yes, I will always have worms to manage my scraps because I'm a gardener.
You should see the doctor about that.
I get more space at restaurants when I'm sitting somewhere, I'm like, oh, I have worms. Then people kind of back away. Very nice. So I still do the worms. I certainly do worm workshops still. But since 2020, we really have a global mental health tsunami. So that's where I'm focused now, is helping people get out of stress. So in 2012, I started going to a laughter club with my mother-in-law. It was our date night. The club was once a month. We'd go for dinner, and then we'd go to laughter club. And so it was kind of a hobby at that time. I was getting paid, I loved it so much. Then she had to close her club because she was renting space and people weren't coming. And it was Condoville, at this corner where she had her club, there must be 20,000 people that live at that corner. In these towers, sky towers. And I was sad. I was like, we just need 10 people. They just don't know this super fun thing is right here. So I got trained as a leader, and I love that so much. I got trained as a teacher. So now I teach leaders. And in 2017, I got appointed laughter ambassador by the founder of laughter yoga.
Wow.
Which I wear very proudly. I just, laughter yoga has given me permission to laugh longer, louder, harder, to spread the joy. It's contagious in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, you said you feel better. We do. As soon as we start smiling, we start secreting all those love drugs, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, the happy hormones versus cortisol, adrenaline, epinephrine. When we're stressed, and we're living in this perpetual state of stress, like everyone's like, I'm so stressed, I'm anxious, I'm frustrated, like all those low vibrating frequencies. So when we're down here feeling all those sad things, and nothing against them. I mean, it's just that's the state of our world. Luckily for these podcasts, we can let people know there's something else. There's something more. There's another way. And my goal is for people to live in joy. You know, so what happens now if you've got a 9-to-5 job? Maybe on Saturday you're like, yay, it's Saturday. And then you're like, ah, crap, it's Sunday again. Tomorrow's Monday. So we get, joy for one day. Or we work and then we get our 2 weeks holiday. So, it takes 3 days to wind down. And then we've got a couple of days of, we're on the beach. Wow, so great. I want people to live that way. Like live every day in joy. Like I wake up every morning wondering, what am I going to be wowed by today? It's you, Andy, today. Thank you.
Oh, that's very kind.
And then dip into stress every now and then, because the stress is a part of it. It's not that, because if we're just in joy, we're not going to appreciate it. We need to have those moments of stress where we go, ooh, no, back to joy. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like a barrier that people sometimes put up? Because I've been in these situations before. I love a bit of kind of movement with my kind of energy release and so forth. Excuse me. But do you sometimes find that people are a bit like, oh, this feels weird or this feels awkward, like to laugh? Because I've done it, I've started laughing. It's like it just happens, doesn't it? But do you sometimes feel people have got like a guard up to let go?
Absolutely, yes. Because there's no jokes, there's no comedy. We're not against that. It's just jokes are cultural, right? If two people are going somewhere, it's not funny about those two, probably. It's probably about them. So people will come and they're in their head. So we ask them, the laughter yoga teacher will say at the beginning, allow yourself permission to play full on. Mm-hmm. Because if you're in your head thinking, this is ridiculous, well, you want me to laugh for no reason, why, and that's because the brain's role is to keep us safe and conserve energy. Yeah. So if it's uncertain, it's like, oh, what are you doing? Stop it. You look ridiculous. Like when we're laughing, we do look ridiculous. It's fine. But if we're all doing it, it's all good. So it's getting out of your body. The body doesn't know the difference between real and simulated laughter. That's the magic of the laughter. Wow. The brain does, the ego does, but the body's like, pew, 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 secreting all those love drugs. The more you, ha, 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 pew, 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 ha, 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 pew, pew, pew. And I'm like, am I going to wear out my dispenser? I don't know.
Amazing.
We're in charge of our own pharma.
Yeah.
What are you secreting?
Yeah. And you know what's really funny? It's like you just said the thing that makes me laugh is that, well, it does make me laugh, but we have so many tools that don't involve medicine that can change our state, change the way we think, act and feel. And I think laughter is something that just, for me, I personally think it gets massively overlooked on a daily basis. If it is something that makes you laugh, but something that I know for me is like, if you do something that makes you happy and makes you smile and makes you laugh, for me, it's getting in the sea, going down the beach with my family and so forth. But 9 times out of 10, we're doing silly stuff that makes us laugh and makes us like happy. And it's like, I know for a fact that makes you feel so much better, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And it's really fascinating. I live in a small town and I love bike riding. So I know we can't multitask, but I do combine my bike riding with my laughter yoga. And it's for a fact. It's just kind of fun. So I'm riding around town laughing. I'm known as the laughing lady. People that see me that don't know me, they're kind of like, think I'm weird, and that's fine. They can think what they want. That's on them. One day I was riding my bike and there was a man with his granddaughter on a bridge. So I stopped because I talk to everyone. Why not? And I'm approaching and I'm also an empath. So I could feel that he wasn't happy that I was approaching. So I stopped. I just said, oh, have a good day. And I got back on my bike. A couple days later, I saw that same man. I was standing on the bridge and he came up. He didn't have his granddaughter this time. And we got engaged and we're talking. And he said, when people see people laughing by themselves, they think there's something wrong with them. And I started laughing. I said, I know, those laughing people, oh, crazy. And then we continued talking. It wasn't until I got on my bike, I rode back home, I walk into the living room, and it hit me. Oh my gosh, he was talking about me. I didn't even know.
Do you know what? I can so relate to this. Back in colonial times, in 2020, I had a studio where I had my photography business, and the easiest way to get there when you weren't supposed to be leaving the house was to cycle, because I was allowed to do that for exercise. So I could cycle to my office, get to my studio, and I could work from the studio, which was fine because I was allowed to work because it was only me there. Anyway, I would pass a lot of people, and this was like when we were like this and we couldn't see faces. So I would be cycling along, and I thought, I would be riding along, and I'd see people go, you're like, because you're running towards them. So I just, when at the point where we didn't have to wear masks, I was riding along, and I would go, hello. And to the point, it just became a game, because I'd be like, right, there's a miserable old man. I'm going to make him smile. And the people that the people that were on their own were the ones that were most needing it. And they'd be like, oh, hello. And you'd see them. But that response was like, I didn't have to give them anything. I just gave them a smile and a wave. And it went so far. But it became such a fun game when I was riding to the studio, because I was like, I would almost see people, and I could see them almost going, and I'd just be like, hello. So it's just, I love that, because it's just that passive, free, positive energy, right?
It is. Yes. Yeah. So fun.
I love that. So how do you work with people now, and how do you do what you do? Because I mean, obviously that's your job now, right?
It is. Yeah. So fun. Imagine making people laugh and getting paid for the privilege.
Yeah.
Come on. What? So I do a lot of school. I was doing all those school workshops, so I'm connected to the school system. So I'm reaching out to the teachers, because everybody needs it. The teachers, the students, the board, the parents, everybody needs it. I try to figure out who needs it most, but everyone needs it. So my wheelhouse is with special needs and seniors. So I go into long-term care. I do go into schools. I do have a free online club, Andy. I would love to invite you and your listeners.
Amazing.
Pardon me. It's Tuesday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. 30 minutes of super fun self-care. I incorporate tapping, brain gym, qigong, because laughter is complementary magic medicine. It goes with everything. There's no side effects, just the sore stomach and maybe the cheeks or whatever, but that's fine. But you don't have the continued pain. Like, you wouldn't wake up the next day if you had a big laughing fit and your stomach was hurting. The next day you don't have the residual.
It's not like when you go to a concert and you come back and your hands hurt from clapping. Laughter no side effects.
Right. Yeah. So I started my free club in June of 2020. So 5.5 years of free laughter. I get around 25 to 30 Zoom squares every week. Not even the same ones. I do have my core group, but then there's other people that come maybe once. They're like, oh, that's weird. Because it is weird the first time. All these laughing, what is happening here? Yeah. Laughing for nothing. And 4 or 5 of those squares are groups: community living, long-term care. So it's so wonderful. It just is really a beautiful club. And now I teach leaders as well. So I'm a laughter yoga teacher. It's a 2-day training, and I do it online or in person. And it's the most fun course that anybody's ever going to take. And it teaches you the history of laughter and the benefits, like why do it. And then at the end of the 2 days, you're trained and you're certified to go and lead laughter. Not everybody wants that. Some people just want to take it for themselves. Like we go for massage, we do all these things. Imagine if we could self-administer, our dose. And I have rock hard abs just from laughing.
I love that. I love this because you touched on something that I certainly do with my clients. And what I want everyone to really know and realize is that you have everything you need, and you can do everything within you to change your state of how you feel and so forth. And I think, for me, I'm a huge advocate for gratitude in the morning. And for me, when I look at what I'm grateful for, because I know at that point, once I'm celebrating gratitude because it's the things that the stuff has already happened, right? So I'm grateful for it. And it's even, I'm grateful for things in the future. Although I say that, it's because I know that the beach is there. I know that these things are around me. But I always find that when I am like truly grateful for whatever I write down, or I write down three reasons to be grateful every morning, I know every time I smile afterwards, and I know there's that release of like, oh yeah, that's like. So I just feel that for me, it's like, it's so simple, isn't it? Laughter, as like it, and we can do that for free. We don't have to go to the chemist or the doctor or the pharmacy or. Yeah.
No, and it seems in today's world, we're so looking for the magic pill. Like, what's the pill that's going to make me feel better? And it's in us. So here are 5 things that you can do to make you feel better. 5 things right now that everybody can do. Smile. Like, if you can't laugh, you can smile and you start secreting the love drugs. Laugh, you're secreting more. Singing is a great thing. Dancing. And as you said, gratitude is the final piece. Those 5 things are free for us to do. You can toss on a song or turn on the radio, start dancing away like no one's watching us. Or if they're watching, it doesn't matter. Maybe they'll dance too. It's really simple, but not easy because our society has squashed us down. And people will say to me, Cathy, how can I possibly laugh? There's so much things going on in the world. I'm like, because all that stuff is going on, we must laugh. Otherwise, we're bawling in the corner. Yeah,
I love that. Cathy, you have been an absolute joy chatting to. I have to be honest, I don't want to end the call. I just want to keep chatting to you all day. I would love to know how people can connect with you, and obviously, if you're open for that invite, how people can join the free laughing yoga, and how can people find out more?
Yeah, my laughter page is cathysclub.com, Cathy with a C. Information right at the top of the page on how to sign up for the free laughter club. And I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the all that jazz.
Things. We'll put all of your details on the bottom. But one last question before we finish. What's the funniest thing that's happened to you today? Because we ask our kids the wrong questions more often than not, right? And how did you have a good day at school? No, So I ask my daughter quite often, what was the funniest thing that happened at school today? So I'd love to know, what's the funniest thing that's happened to you today?
Well, so far, so I go for a walk first thing Monday morning, and so I'm out for a walk with my friend, and the path is all squished down, like it's all full of snow. And then we come to a part where it wasn't, like there was nobody. We had to be the trailblazer. And holy moly, like it was, when we're walking on the frozen water, like, wow, we felt like Jesus. And then you step off the path. Wow, it was really deep. So that was the funniest thing, stepping off the path and sinking down. Like it was over a foot deep of snow. It was pretty funny.
I love that. I'm also glad that you didn't fall, because I've been watching the Olympics quite a lot this last couple of weeks, and there's been a lot of falling, so I'm glad you didn't fall on the snow. Cathy, thank you so much. It's been an absolute, it's been a joy to chat to you, to be fair. And thank you so much for your time.
It helps other listeners find the show. Also, go and check out the show notes to learn more about my incredible guests. Until next time, make sure you chase your dreams without limitations.